The first round of the TSSAA football playoffs, 32 teams remaining in Class 4A. Tonight there are 16, and one of those 16 teams still alive in the playoffs, the Fulton Falcons, as they knock off the Volunteer Falcons at Bob Black Field by the final score of 42-7. Welcome to another edition of Fulton After Dark. This is Russell Mays, joined now by the head coach of the Fulton Falcons, Coach Rob Black. And Coach Black, a good win for the Falcons. Anytime you can get a win in the playoffs, it's always sweet.
It is. 2 years in a row, went out in the first round, and finally had an opportunity to reward our seniors playing at home in the first round, and then to get a win means an awful lot, and it was a good night.
Playing playoff games at home, and Fulton all-time is 30-4 in home playoff games. What's the difference?
Well, most of the time when you go in the playoffs, you're going somewhere that's you're not familiar with, and unless you're playing at home. And it just means an awful lot to be here, and I think our guys do a good job of taking pride in our place. It's kind of like our backyard, and we protect our place, and that's kind of the mindset, and we've been pretty good at it.
How hard was it to get your team focused this week for Volunteer, a team that you've not played since 1980, so obviously nobody around was a part of that game, but also coming off a couple of weeks in a row of very emotional football games?
Well, it wasn't real hard to get them ready. I thought had a really good talk Monday before we went out, and started watching some film, and Volunteer did some things to get their attention, and thought Wednesday we slacked a little bit at practice, didn't have our best day, especially on offense, but other than that, it was a pretty good week of preparation. I think our attitude was right, and our guys understood that, it's win or go home, and so they took that mentality, to practice, and then I felt like brought it tonight.
And speaking of Volunteer, the Falcons from Volunteer, from Churchill, Tennessee, got on the board first as Garrison Barrett hits Heath Miller for a 57-yard touchdown pass. Actually, a penalty had them deep. And they hit a couple of long passes on that drive. Volunteer certainly, for the first time making the playoffs since 2007, they weren't afraid of the moment.
They weren't, and I didn't think they would be. I thought they would come in with some confidence, and probably felt like when they got here that they had a chance, and they struck first. And they're a quick strike kind of team, kind of like the team we played the week before, and I thought the quarterback threw good balls. When we watched him on film, they had some pretty good receivers, and they got one on us. We really had a man coverage set going over there, and we got beat on that play. And
Volunteer took a 7-0 lead in the football game, but it didn't take the Falcons long to get on the board. Davion Chenault got a 1-yard touchdown run to tie it up midway through the first quarter, and I thought that was really important for the Falcons to get on the board as an answer.
Felt like we needed to answer it. The bell was ringing at that time, and to keep them from getting happy on the other side, we felt like we needed to take it down the field. I want to say it was a 13-play drive somewhere around there, but a good little drive for us. We had a couple penalties on it, had to overcome a couple things, but it was good to get down there and get it in the end zone.
And you mentioned penalties, and again, for another week, the Falcons penalized 10 times. What's the process of trying to get that cleaned up?
Man, we got to figure it out, and I just told our coaches up in the office a few minutes ago. It seems like every drive that we had to punt on, every drive that got stopped, there was a hold or an offsides penalty or an illegal motion penalty on us on each one of those. And again, the further you go in the playoffs, the more that kills you. And so we've got to be a little bit more disciplined when it comes to those things. And again, it's about taking advantage of opportunities, and when we've got an opportunity to have the football and do something with it, we sure can't kill it with a penalty.
One of the things in the game plan for this week offensively was to try to throw the ball some more. There were some opportunities there, and just really wasn't able to hit the big throw tonight.
Well, again, we throw a touchdown early to Dre, and we get a holding call. And so we did hit a few things in the passing game, and it felt like we could. But then later on, we started running it, and felt like we were having a lot of success, especially inside, and so we kind of hung with that. But I thought Marmar threw some good balls tonight.
on the defensive side, really after that first drive that Volunteer had, it almost seemed like that was a wake-up call for the Fulton defense.
I think so. I think, I challenged our team at that time. I felt like we were playing a little bit passive, almost like we were out there filling them out to kind of see what's this going to look like, what are they about, and we have to attack. And when we started doing that, you saw a whole different thing when we started attacking. I thought that defensive front, again, put a ton of pressure on them up there, and that really helps us on the back end when we get that.
And at one point in the game, they had a 3-and-out drive where there was 3 minus-yard tackles, 1 minus-yard tackle, and then 2 sacks right after that. Just so much pressure on the quarterback all night long, and it seemed like it affected him as the game went along.
Yeah, I think so. I think he became really uncomfortable, and he knew he was going to have people breathing down his neck about the time he caught the ball, in that shotgun. So, again, I can't say enough about our defensive front. Those guys are playing both ways, and they just keep bringing it week after week after week, and that's truly been a strength for us.
Tell us a little bit about those guys that are on the offensive front, the guys that are bringing all the pressure. And you were mentioning earlier today just about the fact you've got guys that can come up the middle and guys that can come from the outside, which is unusual for most teams.
Well, again, we've played people like that before where we felt like they were going to have some inside pressure, but maybe not as much on the outside, or you play a team that has some outside pressure and not as much inside. And again, this group does a really good job of, and tonight I thought really, really good because I thought Bill played well tonight. I thought Bill Anderson did a good job getting upfield on the pass rush, and of course Keenan. He's going to draw a double team a lot, and then inside, you got Seth and Cam, and those guys are like bulldozers in there. So again, it's not just an inside pressure or an outside pressure, but it's the combination of both of those, and that makes it really hard on the quarterback.
Those guys were in the backfield all night long, and probably the most impressive stat from the night is rushing yardage for Volunteer, minus 29, and a lot of that, they didn't get many positive running plays, but also you add in all the sacks, and it adds up to that total.
Yeah, I thought a lot of minus yards tackles, a lot of sacks. I hadn't even looked at the stat sheet yet to see where we were at on that, but I know we got to him an awful lot.
Fulton tied the game up 7-7. You take the lead. Marcellus Jackson with a 22-yard touchdown run. You go up 14-7, and really another good performance by Marcellus at quarterback tonight.
Yeah, he probably had around 200 yards rushing, I think 3 touchdowns, threw a touchdown. Just impressed with how he has taken on this role, and it was an unfamiliar thing for him, and I said it last week, just a tremendous athlete who has a good head on his shoulders. He's smart, can make plays in a lot of different ways, and sure is nice to have him on our side.
And Marcellus Jackson was 4 of 10 in the air for 64 yards and a touchdown. We'll cover that point in a minute. 12 carries for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, impressive again. I think the thing that really helps Marcellus right now is just the way Davion's running it. Davion's running the football really well. Our offensive line's opened some things up, and so again, it's not like you can sit back there and say, well, if we can just kind of mirror this one guy, we'll be okay, because we've got a couple different ones coming at you. And on top of that, they a lot of times know we're running it, and again, that puts a little pressure on your offensive line, but those guys, again, are getting better and better every week, I think.
Chenault had 15 carries for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns, and really 2 interesting milestones tonight. Jackson and Chenault become, as far the best we can tell through our research, the first 2 players for Fulton to both have over 1,000 yards rushing in a year, which is quite impressive. And this has only happened a handful of times to have 2 guys go over the 100-yard rushing mark in a game.
Yeah, that's pretty special, and again, we had a plan tonight to throw it some. We started out doing that. I thought, again, Marcellus threw some good balls, but man, when he tucks it away and goes, he's pretty special, and so to get 2 of them over 100 and 2 of them over 1,000 for the year is pretty special.
Probably the play of the game came right before halftime. Fulton gets the ball back, and you get a 60-yard touchdown pass to Dre Peebles as he goes roaring down the near sideline. A big play in the ball game from the standpoint, instead of going into the locker room ahead 14-7 at half, it's 21-7.
Yeah, that was a huge play, and ran that a lot during the week and out of 2 or 3 different formations, and felt like that was going to be good to us. Been a minute since we ran that, and so that was in the plan this week. Thought Bill did a really good job. Bill, our tackle there, got out on the quick screen and got to the corner and got us just enough for Davion to get back inside and back out on the sideline and run the rail down through there for a touchdown. That was a huge momentum play for us.
Well, and we've talked a lot about Dre on this program, just what he brings to the football team. I know you had to be happy to see him make a big play on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, he's made a lot of them on defense and made some on offense and some on special teams. But, to see him make that one was huge. And, he's not a me guy. He's not a guy that is worried about how many times he touches it or how many times he gets in the paint. He's worried about us winning, and that's one of the things that makes him really special.
21-7 was the halftime score. What was your message to the team at halftime?
Well, to finish, and still felt like there was a lot of football to play, and again, they proved to us that, on 3rd and long they can pop one on you, and then and they did. They hit a little hot route right there on us and got a first down, and then they come back and throw the long ball over the top of us, and so they were quick strike, and we knew that they could do that. So. Again, I just challenged our team to come back out and push the gas pedal a little bit more and just know that we were going to have to finish this football game. They weren't going to just hand it to us.
So the Falcons come out in the second half. They get the football first, facing a 4th and 1 situation. I think everybody knows what's getting ready to happen. Volunteer stacks the box. What happens? Marcellus Jackson, 49 yards for a touchdown run.
Yeah. Again, that was a situation where we ran a little freeze play right there and kind of see where they're at and how they're lined up, and then what looks good to us, and then we make a play call off of that, and opened up really nice, and Marmar hit it right up the middle. That
made it 28-7 as the Fulton defense really began to dig in and make life miserable for Volunteer on the night. Davion Chenault increased the lead to 35-7 with a 28-yard touchdown run, and then Marcellus Jackson closed out the scoring with a 14-yard touchdown run midway through the 3rd quarter. So a game that was 14-7 late in the first half, about 7 minutes later of game clock, it's 42-7.
Again, and during that, and I don't want to fail to mention this, Jerrison Gibson, man, we used him tonight to get up in there on those linebackers, and I just thought he did a tremendous job. And even Marmar one time on one of his long ones, we had Gibby leading him up in there, and Marmar come back and was talking about the block that Jerrison made, and he's another one that's kind of like Davion. He's like Dre. He's just unselfish. What do you need me to do? And I love that attitude. I love his work ethic, and I love his unselfishness. And Gibby's been a big part of what we do in the run game, even when he's not running it.
So the Falcons end the game with 401 yards of total offense compared to 219 for Volunteer. Let's go back on to the defensive side of the football. On our stat sheet, Dexter Lewis tonight was the leading tackler with 8 tackles.
Yeah, Dexter had a good game. He caught a pass early in the game, I think got us a first down, and then defensively, we put a lot on our safeties the past couple of weeks, and I thought, he just continues to get better and better. It's his first year playing with us since he's been here, and he dealt with an injury early in the year and missed several games, and so getting him back was important to us. And then just seeing his progression and how much better he's getting, how much more comfortable he is, and so it was good to see him get on the stat sheet like that tonight.
And he also had a deflection that led to an interception that was made by Wasami Bates.
Yeah. Again, had one go down tonight. Wasami had to go in there, and there's 2 safeties kind of in tandem making a play for us, and so. He did. He got his hand on it, and Wasami came up with it. And again, that's good to see. From good kids like that out there making plays for you.
You had an opportunity at the end of the ball game to get a lot of new faces on the field, just because of the numbers situation this year, not being able to play very many JV games. How important is it to get some of those young guys some experience in a playoff game.
Yeah, again, that happens sometimes in the regular season. It's rare in a playoff game, but we got a running clock going tonight, and again, we're able to get some guys in that we asked to do so much during the week when they're running a scout team stuff for us, and so for them to get to go in a playoff game that really means something and get a few snaps was good to see. And again, some of those guys are going to be our future, and so for them to get a few reps here and there, I think is very important.
Final score tonight, Fulton wins over Volunteer by the final score of 42-7. Let's take a look at what happened around the Region 2-4A in other playoff games tonight. Of course, you see the Fulton score. Greenville wins over South Doyle 49-14. That was a game that was 14-14 in the first quarter. Anderson County, that's a typo. Anderson County won. They didn't beat themselves. They won tonight over Seymour 39-21. We're going to have to fire the graphics guy. That's me. As that was a tight game, and Anderson County was able to blow that game away late. And then Elizabethton at home won over Carter by the final score of 47-14. So now round 2 of the Class 4A playoffs will come up next Friday night. And let's take a look at the way the bracket goes here in Regions 1 through 4. Fulton will be at Greenville, Elizabethton at Anderson County, Macon County at Red Bank, and DeKalb County will be at Upperman. And the task at hand for the Fulton Falcons next week is they will go on the road to Burley Stadium and take on the Greenville Green Devils. Just like Fulton, Greenville's making their 31st appearance in the playoff. Very successful program down through the years, 54 wins, 26 losses in playoff action. They have 4 state championships as they won back-to-back in 2010, 2011. Fulton played, the last times they played at Greenville was in those 2010, 2011 playoffs. They also won Class 4A in 2017 and 2018. Greenville is the #1 team in Class 4A with a record of 11-0. And if you look at some polls, they're the #1 team in the entire state of Tennessee. The last time these two teams met was back in 2013 in the playoffs as Fulton won over Greenville 40-20. So 2010, 2011, Fulton played Greenville at Greenville and lost, and then in 12 and 13, Greenville came to Fulton, and Fulton won those games. Coach, you look on that bracket, you see that name Greenville, it certainly gets your attention.
Well, it means something. It means something to those people up there. They've done a great job with just building that program, and the town comes out for it. It's important to those people in that area, and man, Burley Stadium is a tough place to play, and Greenville is a very good football program. So we'll have our hands full this week, but super excited about it. And I think our guys are too, and I had several of them talking about it in there. So, again, if we can take that attitude, take it to the practice field, and then get on a bus and go up there, my plan is to go up there and give them all they want. And I think our guys will do that.
We talked in the chapel about just the toughness of this football team, and this is about as tough of a battle as you can possibly have.
It'll be super tough, but I think our guys are built for that, and we again play so many guys both ways, and it takes not just like mental toughness, but some physical toughness as well, and all of that is important, and our guys will be ready for it.
Coach, every playoff win is important. Every playoff win is sweet, and I know that you certainly enjoyed getting this win over Volunteer tonight.
Well, again, our seniors got a chance to play at home. Our seniors, had to battle some tough roads, getting here, and so I'm happy for them, happy for our whole team, and it is sweet to get a playoff win, and especially when you get one at home, and so now it's time to go on the road and take the show with us.
And Steve Diggs in the post-game show made reference to the chapel session after yesterday's practice where the coaches had an opportunity just to each one address the team and talk about what they were proud of. And I thought that was really a great opportunity and a great opportunity to share. And what were some of the things that your takeaways from what was said yesterday?
Well, again, that's that's always a great time to be able to just go in there and just be honest with you guys and tell them, you know, just how special they are, how much we love them, how much we care about them, how much we believe in them, you know, and it's almost like every coach was given a very similar message, and we are blessed, you know, to have so many, you know, coaches on this staff that do it for the right reason, that really do care about these kids, and we do want to win, and we want to win them all. You know, but we also want our guys to win in life, you know, and that message is conveyed. I think our guys truly do know that we love them and care about them, and that's what team's all about, man. It's like a family around here, and those are special times.
Fulton wins tonight over Volunteer 42-7. Next week, the Falcons on the road at Greenville in the second round of the playoffs. Of course, we will have the broadcast on WKCS Radio. Check our social media channels, and we'll give you an update on if there will be a video stream. Of course, if it is, it will be available only through the NFHS network. I want to thank Coach Rob Black for joining us here on Fulton After Dark. We want to thank you for watching. We thank Robert Sheffield in the WKCS Radio studio and Nicholas Slagle, our technical advisor, for making all this happen. Until we talk to you again next week on Fulton After Dark, for the head coach of the Fulton Falcons, Rob Black, this is Russell May saying thanks for watching. Go Falcons. Good night, Reagan. Good night, Anderson.